Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of First Nations Subarctic Edition with B-Man, Lizzie, and Jan. If you are wondering right now, what are First Nations? Well, we have that question written down, and we have asked several strangers from the street to answer that question.
Question number 1. What are First Nations? Take your time.
I'm supposed to answer this question, and I'm not even Canadian, so do I still have to answer this question? I honestly don't know what First Nations are, so you guys are asking the wrong guy, so can I just head on? I'm supposed to meet someone at Starbucks. Alright. Wait, these aren't questions about me? I thought you guys were paparazzi. Cause I don't know, I'm not sure, man. Like, you just pull me out of the street, okay? Now you know the gist of what a First Nation is, and we have talked to many people from the streets. What are First Nations? Let's get back to the main topic here. Subarctic Edition. Well, there are many more Aboriginal groups than just Subarctic, but Subarctic will be our main focus for today. Subarctic includes Inuit, Beaver, Chippewa, and Northern Cree, but right now, we will be focusing on the Beaver group, Aboriginals. Now, our amazing resources has gathered many brilliant scientists around the world, thanks to B-Man, Lizzie, and Jan. Now, to you, B-Man, to get the latest news about Aboriginals, First Nations, Subarctic Edition from our scientists. The Natural B-Boy Habitat, Guilford Rec Center. The natural habitat for the beaver group will live under the logs right beside a beaver. The beaver group is really fun with logs. The beaver group usually eats bears and fish. They sometimes eat yak, bison, and also deers. For shelter, the beaver group would usually live in tents made out of fur and wood. The name of these tents would be called ridgepole lodges.
Ridgepole lodges? What is it?
For entertainment, they would sit around in campfires on logs, listening and watching music. The beaver group's religion was animism, so whenever they sacrificed an animal, they would have to give it a gift, so then they wouldn't have bad luck. For technology, they would use stones and rocks to carve up wood. The wood would be used as tools of weapons or shelter. Sometimes they used the sharpened wood to create tents made out of fur. They would use the sharpened wood to cut the fur and form a tent. Thank you. This has been B-Man, coming to you live from the Guilford Rec Center, where the natural habitat of the B-Boys are. This has been a lesson about Beaver Group First Nations, with special guest star, Brian Lagan. Good night. The location, environment, clothing, art, language, food, shelter, religion, technology, and survival. Thanks to you, B-Man. Now, to the Chippewa group. Now, bring to you live about the Chippewa group. My name is B-Man.
My name is Jan. And I'm Lizzie. So the Chippewa group, it's a great group. And its religion was animism. The languages they spoke were Dini Suling. The Chippewa relied on bison, musk oxen, moose, waterfowl, fish, and wild plants for sustain.
Where they lived was in the region spanning the Western Canadian Shield to the Northwest Territories. The clothing was also made from fur from animals. Caribou was used for their shelter, clothing, bedding, and it was a source of many tools in their daily life. And they told myths, they storytelled, and they also told their stories by singing it.
For their shelter, they used tents and stuff. For survival, They set up tents near water to get water easily. They lived near the tundra, and for tools, they used hatchets, blowguns, axes, and rocks. For technology, they used rocks to cover the bottoms of their tents and used pegs to nail down the tents. They used rocks as hammers and used spears for weapons made out of wood. They used moss to burn down trees and wood. Thank you, Brian and Jaden. This is B-Man,
Jan,
And Lizzie.
talking to you about the Chippewa group. Those are some amazing facts, Lizzie. Thanks to you, we have found out about the Chippewa group and its amazing facts about location, environment, clothing, art, language, food, shelter, religion, technology, and survival. Now, to Jan to find out what about the Inuit group. In plus quit equals Inuit. Our latest explorers, Lizzie and Jan.
Hi, my name is Jan, and today we will be talking about the Inuit people. So there was religion in the Inuit people. They believed in animism. They all believed that you had to give gifts to the spirits. Usually when you killed an animal, you had to usually give them a gift or something, because if you didn't, they thought that they would get angry with you and give you a curse.
Thank you, Jan.
Okay, so next is location. Usually the Inuit people lived in the Arctic region of Greenland, Canada, and the USA. The Inuit speak a lot of languages. Usually they speak Danish, English, and French, and other languages. The Inuit people lived in an environment that was harsh. It was cruel and harsh. Usually it was always cold in their places. And the way they adapted was they had very little resources, but they used most of it. They had to adapt to their environment. Their clothing was usually made out of fur and usually the animals they used were caribou, seals, polar bears. And what they would wear would be coats, trousers, stockings, shoes, or boots. The boots were usually made from seal skin. The Inuit people had little resources for food, so they usually just ate whales, walruses, seals, beluga whales, caribous, and more. Okay. The Inuit people lived in a shelter, and their shelters were usually made out of whale ribs or driftwood. If it was in a cold, harsh environment where they were hunting, they usually lived in igloos for a while. To hunt, the Inuit people used stone knives, bows and arrows, knives carved out of bones, a horn handle. Each tool had a purpose for hunting. The Inuit people were very artistic. They made small sculptures of animals and human figures, and they also made figurative work. And that's all for the Inuit people.
Thank you. Now to you, Brian. Thank you, Jan. From that, we have recovered many facts about the Inuit group. Now, to our last but not least part of the subarctic, the Northern Cree. It's okay that they're missing a K in Krieg. So, now to you, B-Man, Lizzie, and Jan. Okay, take three. Oh wait. Yeah, take three of Northern Cree Aboriginals.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Jan.
And today we're talking about Northern Cree people. Where they lived, the major proportion of Cree in Canada lived north and west of Lake Superior, which is in Ontario. They also lived in the subarctic region. Their environment is a type of habitat Northern Cree lived in was frozen lands. The climate was very cold, and it could get as cold as -35 degrees. The Northern Cree was very good at adapting to whatever environment they lived in. At a point in life, the Northern Cree people had developed a specific way of life of where they lived. For their language, they spoke English or French, but some of them spoke their native Cree language. Cree is a musical language that has complicated verbs with many parts. For their shelter, they made their shelter with buffalo hide tents called teepees. The teepees were very light and were easy to move from one place to another. They were made from bone from the large buffaloes. Clothing. And for their clothing, women wore long dresses with removable sleeves, and the men would wear short shirts or leggings. The Northern Cree also wore moccasins on their feet and ponchos in bad weather. The dresses were also made from light animal hide, so it would protect them and it would be quick to move around in. The shirts and leggings were also made from buffalo hide to protect them and keep them warm from the cold, harsh weather. And for the art, they are known for their crafts, wood carving and beautiful woodwork. And for food, they are specialized in hunting, so it was a little easier for them to catch food. The hunters were particularly looking for buffalo, caribou, elk, and moose, as well as beaver and rabbits. The Northern Cree also fished and hunt seals, and the women would gather nuts and fruits, and also grew some corn. For special occasions or traditions, Northern Cree would eat eastman, and the pemmican is originally dried meat and is made by pounding it. Their religion is the type of spirituality that the Northern Cree people believe is animism. Animism is the belief that animals, plants, and inanimate objects possesses a spiritual essence. For their technology, the most used tool or weapon that the Northern Cree used was the bow and arrow. The Northern Crees used bows and arrows for both hunting and war. Other Cree weapons include spears, clubs, and knives. The Northern Crees also use bone fish hooks and nets.
That is all.
Now back to you, Brian. Thank you for tuning in today's episode of First Nations Aboriginals Subarctic Edition with B-Man, Lizzie, and Jan. In today's episode, we have talked about the Beaver Group, the Chipewyan Group, the Inuit Group, and the Northern Cree. So tune in to us next time of First Nations Aboriginals, where we will be talking about something else. Thank you. This is your host, B-Man, Lizzie, and Jan. Good night.